Hey guys, it's Snowman with TooLoudTooOldMusic.com. Welcome back to the collection. This week, we're going to go back to the very first guitarist that I ever paid attention to, that I got fascinated with and wanted to pick up a guitar and play it. And that was with Ace Frehley from Kiss. So seeing him in the whole spaceman outfit, the whole concept with that, him shooting the rockets out of the guitar. I mean, it was the first time I paid attention to the guitar, and I really wanted to play. So I picked up a guitar, tried to get lessons, and realized two things really fast. One, I have no patience, and two, I suck at it. So I just never did well with the guitar. But Ace was the one that got me into that. So he's always been one I've tracked and followed. And when he left Kiss after Creatures, I was, kind of devastated, I guess, as you could say. Not really that bad. But then years later, I found out he wasn't even on Creatures. He was only in the photograph and in the video. He never played a lick on it. Um, but it didn't matter to me. He still had that face on there. He was in the video. I still thought he was on that record. But then he disappeared for a little while and finally came back in 1987 with his new band, Fraley's Comet. And so here's the first one, Fraley's Comet, the debut. And then this one's the club edition from that year. But it's got Ace, Anton Fig on drums, John Regan on bass, and then Todd Haworth on vocals and guitar as well. They kind of him and Todd shared the vocals on these albums, which I thought was a great idea. Ace has never been the best of vocalists, so it was nice to have kind of the dynamics of the two trading off songs. Producer on this, Eddie Kramer, and everybody should know Eddie. I did the first demos for Kiss, um, which I have a bootleg of that. Um, and anyway, I just love this album. Granted, it didn't do that great during 1987 because 1987 was the year of Def Leppard's Hysteria, Whitesnake's self-titled album, Guns N' Roses album came out. So rock had really gone into a much different direction, and Ace still sounded kind of a little old school on this. But I did love his song Breakout. Well, that was Todd's song, but I did love Breakout. Rock Soldier was a great one too. It's kicked off the album, and that was about his crash. And like with any Ace album, you're going to have a cover. And in this case, it was Russ Ballard's Into the Night. Um, that's was originally done by Russ, and Russ did New York Groove, so no surprise that he picked another Russ song. And Ace always likes to have an instrumental, and the very last track on here is Fractured 2. So no big surprise there. Ace is gonna kind of try to mirror that 78 album and try to have some success on that again. Um, they luckily stayed together for a little while and did a second album called Second Sighting. Um, Not quite the same band. We lost Anton Fig, and then we had Jamie Aldacker on drums. Um, this one, uh, decent album. I didn't like it as much as the debut, um, but it was still had some really good songs on there. I did like most of Todd's songs. Um, Ace had some good ones. They did do a cover on this one, "Dancing with Danger," which was done by Street Heart. And I think that was actually written, well, Streetheart did it, and then Frehley played with it. And Dana Strum, I think, also had some co-write credit on that as well. And then the instrumental on this one is "The Acorn is Spinning." Um, I still have the insert on this um, with the lyrics and these weird things on the other side. I'm just not sure what those are, but yeah, that's okay. Um, And then after that one, let's see, what did that come out? That came out in May 24th, 1988. Um, he also had this, there was this Frehley's Comet Live Plus One, and it's just an EP. So it didn't really have a ton of songs. On side one, you had Rip It Out, Breakout, Something Moved, and Rocket Ride. All, of course, those are live. And then the plus one was a studio track for Words Are Not Enough. This one took a while for me to get a hold of. I only got this a few years back. It's on Atlantic and Megaforce. But yeah, I mean, great one to have another Frehley's Comet album in the collection. I will always take that. Um, and then in 1989, by this time, Frehley's Comet was over. Um, and Ace went solo finally. Uh, and so we've got his very first solo album since the 1978 with Trouble Walkin'. And why I need to get this camera to work. And this is a record store day release. First time this was been on vinyl since the 1989, which that one, if you can find it, it's hard to find. It's expensive. So when this one came out, I was very happy to get a new version. I like the Ace Frehley thing, the lyrics on this side, and then on the second LP, you still had the Ace Frehley. The other side, though, had some great pictures. This one is one of my favorite Ace solo albums. I just was blown away by this one when it came out. I was a big fan of it. Again, he's got to have a cover, and the cover this time was "Do Ya," which was originally done by The Move, but it's a Jeff Lynne song, so ELO actually did it as well. You had Five Card Stud, Shot Full of Rock, Fractured 3 was the instrumental. The only song on it I really hated, and I hate this song to this day, is Hide Your Heart, which is a Kiss song, a Bonnie Tyler song, and an Ace song. They all three released it like within a year or two of each other. But it was a Paul Stanley, Desmond Child, and Holly Knight. They wrote it. But it was they were trying to rip off Bon Jovi, and it just, I just hated it. Could not stand that song. It seemed so contrived and so forced. But you take that song out, and I love the rest of this album. It's really good. But then Ace kind of disappeared for a little while. But we did get, I do have this CD, Loaded Deck. Um, it's got a bunch of songs on here, Fracture 2, Fracture 3. If you get the Japanese edition, I want to say there's an extra song on there as well. Um, but it's just a greatest hits record. Some of these are live, some not. Um, I would love to have 12 picks, but I don't have that one. I've never been able to find that one. So after Trouble Walkin', um, Kiss, got back together. And so that kept up his time. So for a long stretch there, we did not have any Ace Frehley albums. Um, but in what was this? I'm sorry, I forget what year. This is Ace's Greatest Hits Live. I'm sorry, but I just can't remember what year this was. Um, it's a 2 LP vinyl. This is the reissue. So again, this is another one that's hard to find. The original. Um, you've got a couple studio tracks, but everything else is live. Give It to Me Anyway and 1+1, I think, are the studio tracks. I like this. It's got some Kiss songs. There's Deuce, Cold Gin, New York Groove, Shock Me. But then you've got his Frehley's Comet stuff, Rock Soldiers, Strangers in a Strange Land, Breakout. So I really like this one too. Good one to have. Um, but then he finally started doing solo albums again. And this was now 2009, I think it is. And this after he left, and then it took him a while to get an album out. But his first one was called Anomaly. I love this is the deluxe 10th anniversary edition. I really love that cover. Um, this is that on the back. This is a 2 LP set. Um, again, Ace has got his cover song, which in this case was Sweet's song "Fox on the Run." He does a pretty good version of it. I kind of like that one. Uh, But some of the better songs you had were Outer Space. Genghis Khan was really fantastic. Space Bear was unusual and interesting. I did like that one. He had his fourth Fractured one with Fractured Quantum is the instrumental on here. Um, then there's a lot of bonus tracks on this one. So this one you get Return of Space Bear, Hard for Me, and Pain in the Neck, a slower version of Pain in the Neck that's earlier on the album. I thought this was a great kind of comeback album for him. So yeah, I was glad to see some more Ace popping back up. And he really hasn't slowed down much since that time. he keeps putting them out. Even though there was a 5-year gap between the next one, he's really been steady on putting stuff out as opposed to Kiss is not doing that. The next one I have is Space Invaders, which came out about August 18th, 2014. Um, I have a picture disc version of this one. Um, and I'm not sure why I don't have another version. I think I found this out and about. So there's another picture there, Ace there. Um, I normally wouldn't buy the picture disc as the first kind of disc that I had on vinyl, but I think I found it for a really good deal and couldn't pass it up. And the pictures on it are fantastic. So this was definitely one worth getting. Opening track, Space Invaders, awesome. Give Me a Feeling is really good. Toys, I kind of like that one too. Um, his cover song on this one is the Steve Miller Band song, The Joker. Again, it's not the best cover, but it's not bad either. And I do like the fact that he does throw a cover song on every album as opposed to doing a full covers album, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then I think Starship is the instrumental that's on here, if I'm not mistaken. But this is I really do like what they did in the pictures on this one. There's some good stuff on there. So kudos to him for that. Um, After that one, he did a full covers album. It's called Origins Volume 1, which makes you believe there's going to be a Volume 2 and who knows how many else. And that would be the case. Again, I have a picture disc. I I think again it's just one of those. I got a really good deal on it, so I couldn't pass it up. Um, it's on the other side with his guitar. It's a 2 LP set. So we'll pull out the rest. Again, there's the guitar, and then I like that shot there. That's a good one. Um, He had some really good covers on here. I'm not going to argue about that. It was awesome to see John Five play on a few. I think he's on Spanish Castle Magic, which is really good. Jimi Hendrix song. And then he's on Parasite, the old Kiss song. But White Room was pretty good. Fire and Water was really great. That had Paul Stanley on it. That's the old Free song. That was a good one. Emerald, which was a Thin Lizzy song, had Slash on it. The only song I really didn't like, and it's no shot on the singer, Lita Ford. I love Lita. I have her in the collection, but I really wasn't crazy about Wild Thing. It's kind of a corny song and don't really need to hear it uh, covered by anyone. And then I did like the Cold Gin version that had Mike McCready on it. So all in all, it was a good cover album. Even though I'm not a huge fan of cover albums, just the fact that Paul was on there and then some of the artists that I really, really like, it was nice to have some of that. And even Paul did the video with them. So that was really cool. So this was probably 2016. So it only about a 2-year gap between the last album. And that 2-year gap would continue. You'd have another one. And this one, oh, before we get to that, I almost forgot. I do have a single from um, the Origins album. We have Space Truckin'. So, and maybe I have that in the wrong order. I might have to edit that out. I do. Yeah, this is out of order. I have them out of order. So too bad, so sad. This is from the next one. This is Space Truckin'. I love this picture disc. This was a might have been a record store day. Yeah, this was a record store day one as well. Um, but man, this is just fantastic. I love the cartoon effect on it. Um, just really, really great. I really do like this one. Um, yeah, and Record Store Day gets some really good stuff, I do admit, even though some of the stuff's not that exclusive. But this has Space Truckin', Space Invaders, Mission to Mars, a radio edit, and the return of Space Bear. So I do like this one, even though I have it out of order, and I do apologize for that. Don't skewer me. All right, now we'll get to the album. I have Spaceman from 2018. Um, Space was back. Ace was back with another solo one. We'll go ahead and tell you the cover one on this one is I Want to Go Back, which was done by Billy Satellite. I know it more from Eddie Money. And he does a really good version. We have instrumentals called Quantum Flux. So we went from Fractured Quantum to Quantum Flux. Some good stuff on here. I liked Bronx Boy. I thought was really good. Rockin' with the Boys was great. Mission to Mars. Not the strongest album, but still some good stuff on here. I did buy the single that came out with that for Bronx Boy, so I had to get that. I love the old snapshot of Ace when he was young and he was a Bronx Boy, I guess, at that time. This has a remix of Reckless, has White Room and Cold Gin, Mike McCready. So kind of highlighting stuff from Spaceman and from Origins Volume 1. Um, so then on Record Store Day, again, um, we got another Frehley's Comet. This one's called Live, first time on vinyl. We had the Live Plus One, but this one's just live, recorded at the Hammersmith Odeon. And Jamie Aldecker, no Anton Fig, but it's got Rip It Out, Smoothing, Something Moved, Cold Gin, Shock Me, Breakout, and Rocket Ride. So, I didn't have this version of it, so figured why not grab that. Uh, then Ace did it again and did another covers album. This time it was called Origins Volume 2. Uh, so another 2 LP set here. Of course, this one has Space Truckin', which you saw the single for that as well. Again, I had another Lita Ford song, and not against Lita. The songs they're picking for her are just horrible. They did Jumpin' Jack Flash, and I'm just not a fan of anyone covering that other than the Stones. John Five was back. He was on I'm Down, which is one of my favorite songs on there, the Beatles cover. And then Politician from Cream, he was on that one as well. Robin Zander from Cheap Trick was on 30 Days in the Hole, which is the Humble Pie song. I do love that version of there. One of the cool things on here was on Manic Depression, you had Bruce Kulick on guitar as well as Ace. So good to see the two together doing that. So some decent ones here. I did like they did She on from the Kiss collection. Never in My Life from Mountain. Good Times, Bad Times was okay, but it's a covers album, so I'm not a huge fan, but I did listen to it. I do like it to some degree. Um, so I won't argue with it. Before we get to the last album, I got a couple other things that I will show you. Uh, his record label, well, it was entered E1 or something, and then it's Monarch. Well, anyway, they have every now and again they have sales for like $5. You can get the CDs. So I've got Origins Volume 2 on CD, Spaceman, which hasn't been opened. Actually, I haven't opened any of these. Origins Volume 1 and Space Invader on CD. And I already had Anomaly, so I didn't have to buy that one. But those were all $5 a piece, brand spanking new. So if you go on to MNRK Monarch website, they have sales every now and again. So they're always worth grabbing a bunch of stuff if you can get a chance. Ace also put out this Space cassette box set. So this is all his more recent albums that are on cassette. And as you can see from here, there they all are. They're all still sealed. The top little piece up here is just a little box here, and in it is a bunch of picks, I think. So yeah, we get a bunch of picks. If I can still keep them all. So we got this pick, got that pick, and then another guitar pose. So yeah, it's just a bunch of little picks that came with it. Kind of cool. Um, a nice little thing to have. And I am trying to get everything he has on all the different formats. So kind of had to buy it. But then they also did something recently as well. Put a the singles box set out. So this is the 21st Century Singles, 2009 to 2020. Um, those are all the singles on the back. Not only did they have the singles in there, they had these little cutouts. So we have that, and then it's got the song on the back. Not these are not in any particular order. They're just how I grabbed them. Um, got that and that. So they did that for all the singles that were in there. There's the Bronx Boy. So now I've got Bronx Boy on a 12-inch and a 7-inch. I do like Parasite's cover. That's pretty cool. White Room and stuff. Now, and then here's Give Me a Feeling. So, and I do like these. So for Outer Space, they did color version. So you get a yellow, kind of matches the front. For Give Me a Feeling, it's orange. Doesn't really match the cover, but hey, that's all right. White Room, you get blue, which for White Room, you think you'd have white, but hey, it's still pretty. I like it. Parasite, a dark blue. That's a nice one. Bronx Boy will give you the silver. So very nice. And then I want to go back. That is a nice purple. And then Space Truckin'. This one is on transparent clear. So those are all really cool. Little special things that they did. The singles are pretty expensive. They were $120 at one time, but that's too much. I'm sorry, but it's not worth 120 bucks. They knocked the price down one time for 40 bucks. I bought it then because for 40 bucks, why not? It's not a bad deal for that. But 120 bucks, sorry, don't waste your money. So now we're to the brand new Ace Frehley album. I showed these, I think, the other day on my February wrap up, but this is the lenticular version from Walmart. And then we have the Amazon version of the album, which is on the transparent red one. I still haven't opened this one yet. I've listened to the CD, but I haven't opened the vinyl yet. So in case you're interested, what do I think? I hear a lot of people saying this is the best album he's done since 1978 solo album. Sorry, it's not. It's nowhere near as good. It's not even good as Trouble Walking for me. That's still one of my favorites. But it's pretty good. I mean, it is a great album. I would say side A, opening track 10,000 Volts is fantastic. That one just got me excited about this album. Walking on the Moon was great. Cosmic Heart, Cherry Medicine, the new single he's got out now, is fantastic. And Back Into My Arms Again, which is the cover, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, that's not the cover. Sorry. It's an old song that he had done. And he pulled it out and did it for this album. Best song on the album starts off on side B with Fighting for Life. Fantastic. That might be the best song he's done in 20, 30 years. It is incredible. I'm really digging that. Steve Brown came into this. He was the producer. He helped write most of the songs. He really did a great job with this. The vocals for Ace are a little too clean. We know he's not that, his voice isn't that great. So a little too clean at times. I like Ace to have that little rougher voice. But after Fighting for Life, I start losing it. Blinded, I didn't really care for. Constantly Cute was just horrible, horrible lyrics. Life of a Stranger, no, that's the cover. That was a decent cover. I don't really know the original. So to me, sounds like an A song. I really do like that one. But Up in the Sky didn't do much for me. And then the solo, the instrumental Stratosphere, I can't even remember how it sounded. So I'd say the first half of the album is really strong. The first song on side B is the best one. After that, it becomes filler for me, and it's just not as good. But it's definitely not better than the solo album, or not as good as the solo album, and not as good as Trouble Walking. Is it one of the best ones he's done since 2009? Yeah, it very well could be. I need to listen to it a little bit more, but first few listens, I am digging it. Maybe the last few songs will grow on me eventually, but right now They don't do anything for me, and I'm having a hard time remembering how they went. And that's basically my collection. So for Ace Frehley, um, I hope there's some stuff in there you saw that you hadn't seen. Maybe you need to go out and buy. Tell me what you think about Ace and his new album. Am I crazy in thinking what I think? And leave any comments below. Please hit subscribe so you'll see when future episodes are on, and hit like as well, because the more notice we get, the better. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week on the collection.